Okay, it's time for the Bionicle Inspiration Series. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the show where we take a look at Bionicle MOCs from across the community, and we gather some together to inspire you. Today's episode's all about Toa, so if you're building a Toa, which a lot of people tend to do, it's a bit of a go-to thing to build these days. So let's see if some of these examples can give you some much-needed inspiration and get you ready to build. Toa Hukirai, Swift Like the Wind, is our first build today, and this is made by the very talented Peter Shaker. Now, the posing on this MOC really sells this. There's so many great shots here of them like readying their bow, firing their bow, like stalking in the jungle. It's fantastic. Now, don't forget to pose your MOCs when you're photographing them. It's good to have a nice neutral pose. It's good to do some nice close-ups. But if you give them a few nice action shots or some, interesting kind of character-like positions that showcase who they are, what they do, that just makes your MOC really shine. And this is the perfect example of exactly that. Now, you can probably tell this MOC has a custom mask, but there's also a lot of other custom pieces here. There's a nice bit of dark green paint on a good variety of those pieces. Now, I tell you what though, having a dark green skull spider mask and that sick G2 armor piece that's on the center of the torso there, if those actually appeared in dark green, that'd be lovely. Now look, painting isn't everyone's cup of tea, I understand, but when it looks this good, I can let it slide, it's quite nice. And a good custom mask is always lovely. It looks very fantastic on this MOC. But there is something fitting about this small amount of dark green mixed in with a lot of this black. Yeah, they seem to be like some type of hunter, a rogue of sorts. Someone that hunts from the shadows. So a largely black color scheme with a few pops of dark green, that just works, doesn't it? They haven't got any like really striking colors that are gonna, make them stand out when they're trying to snipe someone in the shadows. I like it when a color scheme kind of seems to fit with the personality or, the way that they fight or something like that. A little bit of extra justification for why you made those choices. That's always good, isn't it? Now, I really like the use of these animal tails here for this sick, curvy bow. Probably my favorite detail here. And I also love this lovely cloth. Now, this is actually an official Lego cloth piece. It came from this promotional G2 Bionicle set where you got a few pieces of paper or a map. I'm not actually sure what that was. I never bought this promo. You got the Mask of Creation and this cloth piece. I hope one day I can own this promotional set because that cloth piece is just so distinct and different. I really like it. And something about it on this MOC here, it feels very fitting for the jungle, right? I spoke about before how they'd be hunting from the shadows, and so they have that darker color scheme so you can't see them. Well, I feel like this cloth would also be a bit of extra camouflage to help them be disguised behind some leaves or up in the trees or whatever. Yeah, it's so fitting for a hunter in the jungle. This is a great MOC. And now for Toa Sindar, the tactician, and this MOC belongs to Cinder Block. Now check out this wonderful eye design. It's just using Dekar's mask, but they're inserting a pair of minifigure binoculars into the gap in the eye there. How rad is that? There's actually quite a lot of masks out there that if you play around with it enough and you start shoving pieces into random holes, you can find all sorts of unique ways to actually insert those pieces. There's a lot of hidden connections in those masks. That's very much the case with a lot of the original Mutter era masks as well. So hey, play around with the masks in your collection, you might discover some sort of cool part use or a hidden connection. Which is very exciting, isn't it? So yeah, this is one of those connections. Well, I assume, I don't know how much friction there is with that binocular. I don't know how actually stuck it is, or if they had to build some sort of head device thing that actually locks it in place. I don't fully know, but regardless, it looks really cool. Oh, and this is a very snazzy torso design too, using the Nuva chest plate piece, but then encasing it with this ribcage piece that we saw on all of the different Fantoka villains. It's a really nice pairing of pieces that makes for a great torso design. And it's always a pleasure to see that silver blade piece that's on the tip of the staff here, that originally came on Hydraxon with his sick wrist blades. Just such a good piece. Oh, and I do love this knee design, using the shin guard piece that came on Glotorian Mata Nui. We can see that here on the base of the legs, and then they're also taking this larger dark bluish grey armor piece that came on Pahatu's interesting helicopter rotor weapons. Now, when you place these two pieces side by side like this, how nice does that look? The shin guards, they leave just enough space for that grey armor piece to flex and move, so there's a good bit of posability here. But also, the shape of these two pieces, they just perfectly match each other. What an amazing pairing of parts, and a great way to bridge the lower leg into the upper leg. Plus we got a nice finger design here that uses some of these clips and minifigure hands. It's so good. This MOC is so good. Toa Farum, Toa of Iron / Iron Golem by Draconis is our next MOC. So this MOC is taking advantage of lots of different Knights Kingdom armor pieces. Those shoulder pads, those nice leg armor pieces, they all appear on figures much like this one here. Yeah, these sets were a treasure trove for fantastic pieces to use in your Bionicle characters. Now, this MOC, of course, is a Toa of iron, so giving them pieces like this that are iron or metal-plated armor, it just kind of makes sense, right? It's a good way to convey that elemental power. But then also coupling them with this cool custom mask that shares very similar textures to these Knights Kingdom parts. It's just brilliant, isn't it? See, this is also a perfect reason to look into using a custom mask. If you can blend it perfectly with other existing pieces that have a similar look, then it's just a no-brainer. Yeah, that in my opinion is the perfect time to use a non-Lego custom piece in a creation. If it creates unity, if it continues that lovely knight aesthetic, well, then it's going to drastically improve the build. This MOC also has some nice posable fingers, and it appears that they also extend as well. Very interesting. So yeah, a lot to love here. Now, Unpixel has made Toa Solek Captain General of the Forge Air Force. So this MOC takes the set Solek, and this is him when he was just but a wee Matoran, and it imagines him now as a Toa. And that's always delightful to see, isn't it? Seeing a Matoran character reaching their full potential and becoming a Toa. I love that. I remember doing that a lot when I was a kid, actually. I'd take Matoran sets and build them as if they were a Toa, giving them a larger body, cooler weapons, upgrades, all sorts of the good stuff, you know? So yeah, seeing it done so expertly here and just really giving Solek an awesome personality and a really lovely design when he's a Toa, it's delightful. Yeah, Unpixel really nailed this transition. I mean, the idea of giving them a cool pilot jacket, you know, one with fur around the collar as well, I adore that. It's fun to keep those flying vibes going because, you know, every Fantoka set in some way related to flying. So I like that, you know, Solek's experience with flying around with the other Toa, it shaped him into becoming this high-flying ace. He's probably got some sort of like airplane that he flies as well. It's a great idea. So we've got another custom mask here, and I think that's actually another really good reason to buy a custom mask. Because, yeah, when a Matoran becomes a Toa, the mask often changes in some way. We saw that across many different Bionicle sets. So this kind of modification here, or this sort of slight adjustment to the mask, it's not much, but there is a difference. It just really works. So if you are planning on doing the exact same thing, maybe you can look into some 3D printed masks or some nice custom ones. There's heaps of different options online for you to buy those sorts of things. Whether it's on Etsy or Shapeways or just, you know, reaching out to independent mask creators like Socket Ball or Zyentro, there's heaps out there. Oh yeah, and plus, you gotta love a good digital MOC like this. I always enjoy seeing them. This is rad. Toa Trex has built our next MOC, and it's called Toa Pokuv. Check out this huge pickaxe design. That's a lovely idea for a weapon, and honestly, not one you see every day. That's fun. Something else that I think is fantastic here is this lower leg design, using two of Pahatu Fantoka's mask and shaping it into some very nice leg armor. Not something you see every day, but it does look pretty good. A surprising amount of things that are a surprise to see on this MOC. That's great. Now, these red wires that are sticking out of the mask, and there's a couple others on the body as well, I think they're very nice touches. The red, it blends in quite nicely with the orange, so it doesn't stand out too much. But that little hint of a new color, it's nice, isn't it? Oh, and then this lovely, like, robotic aesthetic that's going on here. It's baller. This is great. And finally, Pahaturan has built Toa Hiko. Yeah, the yellow sword piece here still to this day remains the coolest weapon ever. Now, this isn't actually a Bionicle weapon. It originally came on an Exoforce set called Sky Guardian. Now, this piece here in that trans-clear area in the center, you had the option of putting a sticker on it there, which gave it this cool, like, lightning effect. So including that sticker here was a great touch because this character certainly has lightning powers, you know, as we can see from awesome shots like this one here. It's nice to see a couple different ways that tie in the elemental power, but the best way happens to be these awesome electrical generators that are on the backs of the arm. A very subtle touch and a very, very nice one. Yeah, and it's got a great color scheme too, azure, yellow, white, and great idea to also include those stickered Kopaka leg armor pieces. These of course came on Kopaka G2 on his legs. The pattern and the colors of this, it works with the already existing color scheme, and it's just a really good addition. Stickers can be annoying to apply onto Lego bricks because you just got to get it exactly right, otherwise it looks a bit weird. But when you put that effort in and then you use it on a MOC like this, oh, it's the best finishing touch. So good. So there you have it. That's a bunch of Toa MOCs today. Hopefully they gave you a bit of inspiration for your next Toa build. Be sure to check the links in the description below where you can see links to all the builders I featured today. Be sure to check out more of their work on their social media. Give them a like, give them a follow. Also in the description below and on your screen right now is the submission email. If you want to submit your own MOCs to be featured on the Bionicle Inspiration series, that is the way to do so. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you tons. Happy building, and bye for now.